You might be wondering why we're not using the wheelbarrow. It is currently occupied. As you can see, our cottage herb garden has been kind of let go over the winter, so we'll be cleaning this up today and possibly adding a little bit of mulch if we have some left over to get it looking just as nice as our kale patch here.
Each spring gets really hard because when you're getting ready to garden, you'll frequently find different types of weeds. It's important to remind ourselves so that these weeds have a purpose. It's essentially the earth trying to cover itself to prevent erosion. And when we don't have a lot in our gardens, that is essentially what they're striving to do, which in turn helps the garden. But at the same time, when we're getting ready to plant our spring and summer vegetables, we need to clear those weeds out as they'll compete for both nutrition and space. So here we have everything from oak trees to different types of chickweed, and so on and so forth. So it's just a matter of getting those out so that we can do well with preparing the garden for a thriving garden ahead. One component of the preparation of your spring gardens is the pruning of your perennials. We don't have many perennials here, but one of which is great to cut down to make harvest easier later in the season is lemon balm or mint. So here we have lemon balm, and you just simply take that old growth from last year, try to cut it as close to the ground as possible without hurting the new growth that is coming up, and that will enable that new growth to pop up without any hindrance from the old stalks. When it comes to using different types of mulches, there is some caution to be had with using wood mulch, as it's a high source of carbon, and carbon has an interesting capability of drawing nitrogen out of the soil. This isn't necessarily that much of an issue with established plants, but it is something to be mindful of, especially if you have young tender plants. So if you're putting transplants in, maybe keep that mulch away from those plants while they get established. And then as they continue to grow, you can continue to push that mulch closer and closer.
You might be wondering why we're not using the wheelbarrow. It is currently occupied with someone making breakfast. So as you saw in a previous video, we have been battling aphids on our Egyptian walking onions here. As you can see, we still have a few aphids hanging out underneath some of these leaves. But for the most part, just using the dish soap, water mixed with a little bit of Tabasco sauce is doing wonders at getting their population under control and allowing our onions to spring back to life. Alright, we've pulled out the weeds. We amended with some mulch or wood chips from a neighbor's tree. So now our herb garden is looking fabulous. You can tell to see that we have yarrow, rosemary, sage, our lemon balm starting to come back, oregano, parsley, and a little bit more rosemary down there, along with some stray daffodils and irises that are popping up. So this is going to look great. We look forward to adding some medicinal herbs here later this year.
For more spring garden cleaning tips, we'll put a link down below that you can follow to our website.